Hi everybody, Jewel here with your tropical update on Tropical Storm Cristobal for Wednesday so far, the 3rd of June 2020. I tell you folks, the weather is just carrying on. Well, here we have Cristobal right here. The winds are 60 miles per hour. The central pressure 995 millibars. If you're tracking 18.6 north, 92.0 west, and it is still moving very slow south-southeast at 3 miles per hour. Always go to the National Hurricane Center or your local law enforcement or weather places to check on things for your areas. Always. Now, from the National Hurricane Center, we see we're going to have a whole lot of stuff going on down here, folks, okay? Where you see the yellow, it's still got 60 mile per hour winds. It is still a tropical storm at this point, but by tomorrow, looks like it's going to drop down into a depression, tropical depression. Moving on up by Saturday and Friday evening late, it should turn back into a tropical storm. And it looks like it's going to be a tropical storm according to the National Hurricane Center all the way up through these areas. Remember, here's the cone. Remember how I keep telling you it could bounce a little further over this way or a little further this way. That still is not out of the question. It is too far yet because it's slow. It's slowed down. Things have slowed down to tell exactly pinpoint the location that it will be coming in. But I'm going to show you what I think in just a second. I'll try to make this as short as possible this morning as we look at all of the global computer models. I said early in the general forecast, weather forecast this morning, look out anywhere. It could go anywhere from Pensacola, Florida to Houston. Well, look here. Here it is. This is why. I haven't been over these things until now, so I'm going over them first time with you on these particular charts. We do have 3 different models that take it up to the panhandle of Florida. We have only one, the HWRF, taking it over to the Houston area in Texas. And then we have the NAMGEM and also the TVCN model right in here. I really like this model, but we've got a few that's over in the Louisiana area now. We've got to watch this area very, very closely. It could still bounce anywhere in this area though. So just make sure you're aware of what's going on. I do want to stress and remind everybody, all of this could change. Remember, it can always change. Yesterday, I showed you, I thought shear wind was going to be a problem. I still think shear wind will be a problem when this does emerge out over the Gulf. You can see the system here already from the National Hurricane Center. You have seen where it should dissipate when it's over this very small area of land. It shouldn't dissipate but so much, as you can see. But as we turn this on and let it roll through, here we go. These are like 30 to 35 mile per hour winds. Some of them even reach 40 when it starts to emerge back out over the Gulf. This only goes 72 hours. It's not going to emerge in this time. But as you can see, what we have drifting down is 50 to 55 mile per hour shear winds. Now, this is going to make it have a much harder time to make up and intensify once it starts to get out over the Gulf. But when it does get in some of the easier shear winds, because they will dissipate, as you can see, coming up, they're still there. But some of them, there's one little area right in here. Now, if it gets up in this little area, let's go back to 72 hours right quick. Let's stop this. I just want to point something out right quick. Here we go. In 72 hours, we do have this one little patch where there is no shear winds. if it happens to come off the coast right in this area, it's going to intensify rapidly, but then it's going to run into all this other stuff later on. So the shear winds is going to have a big part in play of how Cristobal intensifies. Now I'm going to use the European model here. There's all kind of models we can go by, but here it is. You can see right now at this time, center of circulation just barely over some land here. You see a timestamp. I'm going to turn this on and tell you what is happening. Now, all the observations from the Air Force Hurricane Hunter aircraft and from the imagery of the radar in Mexico, it's indicating that the center of Cristobal has made landfall, as you saw a little earlier, just on the very edge of the land. Now that the center of the circulation has moved inland, there's going to be gradual weakening, and this is going to trend for a few days. As you saw, it drops back down to a depression once it hits this little bit of land from the tracking model on the National Hurricane Site. Now, it's looking like that Cristobal will weaken to this depression by tomorrow evening. And then later on, the system is expected to emerge into the Gulf of Mexico. So that's when some restrengthening is predicted. However, looking at all the global models, they show increased southwesterly shear influencing the cycle over the northern Gulf of Mexico, and this should limit the intensification, as I just showed you. Now, it's looking like there is significant uncertainty as to how strong a cyclone this will be that everybody is going to be dealing with near the northern Gulf Coast this weekend. Now, it's also looking like this storm is moving slowly, as I have told you, okay? So, as it approaches, the track forecast is very close to what the dynamical models of the TVCA is showing. Now, something to remember. Cristobal is forecast to reemerge over the southern Gulf of Mexico, and it should happen Friday or Friday night. Then it's going to move northward over the central and northern Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. There is this risk, very important, listen, of storm surge, heavy rainfall, wind impacts beginning over portions around this weekend of the U.S. Gulf Coast, from Texas to the Florida Panhandle. Now, it's way too soon to determine the exact location, timing, and magnitude of these impacts, but if you live in any of these areas, you should keep up with what's going on with Cristobal to ensure you have your hurricane plan in place. So, with all of that said and done, that's your update on Cristobal as of right now. I'll be back later. I'll have another one. So, stay safe. If you're anywhere at all, from over in this area, over across to this area, like I've been saying all along, you need to have your plan ready, your kit ready, in case it comes your way. Because from the National Hurricane Center, as I've just told you, this is from the National Hurricane Center, there is this risk of storm surge, heavy rainfall, and wind impacts. And it's too soon to tell, but when it gets up around the U.S. Gulf Coast, from Texas to the Florida Panhandle, you could have these things happening. So, once again, make sure you got everything together. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please share this video with friends and family if you have anyone living in these areas, to make sure they know what's going on, because the weekend will be here before you know it. Please help me to help them stay safe. Peace, love, and kindness to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching.